Hello Taurus, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle insight video for the powerful eclipse season of January 2019. So this is a time when rapid change is possible. Eclipses by their very nature accelerate our evolution, and the things that we thought were secure and solid can begin to crumble, and new exciting opportunities and endeavors can and people can come in to take their place. So this video is going to talk you through where these eclipses fall in your chart and what areas of your life you can expect to feel these powerful activations in. So we begin the cycle with a potent Capricorn new moon solar eclipse sandwiched in between Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So we've talked about the Capricornian space of your birth chart a lot in previous videos, and this eclipse really amplifies these karmic and deep soul lessons that we are currently working with in the Capricorn area of our chart. All of us have Capricorn somewhere, so all of us are feeling the squeeze. And this year, this area of our chart is going to be particularly tested as Saturn and Pluto come together within a few degrees to make their exact conjunction in January 2020. It's one of the most significant astrological alignments of the year. So the eclipse powerfully activates this, and this eclipse is taking place alongside Saturn and Pluto in your 9th house. So this is the house of higher wisdom, of higher vision, of higher truth, and of synchronicity and destiny. So this is a time when you may be experiencing lots of downloads, lots of insights that force you to change the structure of your life in some way. Quite often when we have a deeply cherished belief, something that we thought about ourselves or somebody else, or something that a belief that we cherish spiritually, is revealed to perhaps not be the truth, or not be the deepest truth, or begins to not resonate with us anymore. It can be very discombobulating, because we then have to reassess the way that we are living our life. And this is particularly true with spiritual beliefs. You know, if we are really focused and disciplined and really invested emotionally in some kind of spiritual truth, which then is revealed to just be one layer or one piece of the puzzle, and new information comes in that makes us change that, it can take a while for the mind to really integrate that, and we may have a sense of cognitive dissonance for a while. So the 9th house can be very powerful in this way, because of course our beliefs and what we deeply believe to be true has a great impact on our reality, on the way that we live our lives. So by these mental constructs changing with this eclipse, the rest of our life can follow suit. So perhaps there is an old system of belief that needs to be let go of around this time. Perhaps there is something else new that is coming in to take its place. This house is to do with travel. It's to do with expansion of our perception, expansion of our mind. So maybe with Saturn moving through this house, you might have felt a little bit constricted. There may have been responsibilities or duties that have stopped you from really expanding into your truth in the way that you wanted to. So this eclipse highlights all of that and calls you to change, calls you to broaden your horizons again, calls you out of stagnancy, because we know, Taurus, that you can be a sign that really likes to cling to what is familiar. And you know, you've had a taste of Uranus last year, and he's coming back in the springtime, so that's not really any longer an option. But this eclipse can, you know, make those patterns come to the forefront of your consciousness as well. The 9th house is also associated with spiritual study and with teaching and with sharing our wisdom and knowledge. So there may be, for some of you who are teachers, who are speakers in your own right, who are sharing spiritual truths in some way in your work, that has to change as a reflection of your internal change as well. Perhaps you're finding something new to teach, perhaps you're teaching in a different way. Or if you have been feeling the urge, perhaps this eclipse is the one that really gives you that push to step up there and to share your voice with the rest of the world. So we have this eclipse in the fire house, the 9th house of your birth chart, yet the rest of the month, even though the planets are moving through fire signs, we're dealing with Leo and Aries and Sagittarius, they are in the water houses of your chart. So there may be still that element of wading through some deep emotions for you, Taurus. We've got Mars in Aries in your 12th house. And typically when Mars transits the 12th house, we can feel a little bit lacking in energy or vitality. It's the time of the Mars cycle for you, Taurus, when Mars is in Aries, that you are replenishing your energy, you're gathering your focus, you're clearing. Your energy is much more geared towards internal clearing and processing, ready for Mars to come into your sign in a couple of weeks' time, which we'll talk about in the next videos. So there may be this sense of introspection as we have Venus moving out of your 7th house, where you know she's been doing some very, very deep work with you around your relationships since September. You know, she's been in Scorpio since September, despite that, you know, brief sojourn back into Libra. So it's been a very deep time for a lot of us. And as she crosses into Sagittarius, she comes to meet Jupiter in your 8th house of deep soul transformation. That will be on the 22nd of January exact, but you'll feel Venus in this space of your birth chart before then, as she moves into Sagittarius around the 7th of January. So this is a time when there can be some deep soul healing for you. This is actually the scorpionic area of your birth chart. So for you, Taurus, it might feel like Venus hasn't actually left the deep waters yet. But it does offer you an opportunity to do some deep healing around the areas of intimacy, of soul connection. Venus is going to meet Jupiter on the 22nd in this space of your birth chart, which so deals with our fears and psychological issues. So these two planets coming together can expand your awareness of any wounds, but can also shine the healing light of love into them as well. So if you've been working on your intimate relationships, if you've been working on opening your heart, if you've been working on dealing with your energetic boundaries, if you've been working on healing some soul fears or some old patterns, this can be a time when you get an extra boost from the cosmos. But again, it's in watery, private, internal space of the birth chart, as is the 4th house, where the Leo full moon, lunar eclipse, supermoon, blood moon, wolf moon will be taking place. And this is the space of the chart that is like the womb. It's the space of memory. It's the space of connection to ourselves. It's a space of nurturing. So with this Leo eclipse here, we may be working with clearing some of the energetic residue of the previous 18 months, the eclipses were falling in Leo and Aquarius since late 2017 right through 2018. And particularly there was a Leo new moon solar eclipse on the 11th of August in this space of your chart. So issues that you've been working with, particularly related to your inner world, your emotional healing, related to practical physical level, to your home, to your family. You know, perhaps the changes that you've been going through in your relationships have affected your family life. Perhaps you're feeling the need to change location. You know, you want to expand your horizons with all of this energy in your 9th house. And this can really awaken that desire to change, to heal. And with these watery energies and these fiery energies being activated, there's this simultaneous kind of creative energy, this inspirational energy moving through your chart. But also there's this need to really trust in the process, trust in the surrender and flow, you know, whatever your name for the higher power or higher source is. It's about, you know, surrendering to that and allowing yourself to be comforted and healed. And, you know, really nurturing yourself and giving yourself space to integrate the changes that have been happening for you through, you know, last year's very intense retrograde periods, which was so profound for you, being in your fellow fixed signs. And of course we've got Uranus turning direct just on the cusp of Aries and Taurus, ready to come back into your sign, which will kick that wave of revelation, of liberation off again. The full moon actually is very activated by, actually activates Uranus too, so, or Uranus. So it's a time when you may feel on the cusp of change, Taurus. So I'm going to pick a card for you from the Goddess Guidance deck to guide you through this period. Oh, and this is a really lovely card. This is Artemis, and the card is Guardian. She's very Sagittarian looking with her bow and arrow. You and your loved ones are safe and spiritually protected. So this really speaks to me